takes over the job?
Well, you know, if you just think about this, I mean, this guy is 6 feet 4 inches tall, 200 pounds. He stands tall in the pocket. He has all the throws. He has a good touch. The question is today, will his offensive line be able to protect him? Will be able to get the ball to his very, very outstanding receivers?
Two top Big South receivers, Toby Antigua and Jeremiah Mackey, leading the way for this offense for Presbyterian.
Well, Rod Carey, the head football coach of the Northern Illinois Huskies, said that Toby Antigua is as good a wide receiver as there is in the country. That's high praise. Jeremiah Mackey, outstanding player in his own right at wide receiver, but also a great return man.
And what about those Huskies? Northern Illinois looking for life without Jordan Lynch, next man up at the QB position.
Well, Chandler Harnish and Jordan Lynch, let's be very honest. They own 3 Mid-American All-Conference Most Valuable Player trophies. Mac McIntosh, I really, really like him. He's probably had more snaps than the other. Matter of fact, he has. He's a young guy that possesses similar abilities to Lynch and Harnish, and I think that's a great factor because it does not have to change the offense in a radical fashion.
And one thing you know for Matt McIntosh, he will be largely protected this year by that O-line.
This offensive line, I've said this over the years, has been probably one of the finest offensive lines and well-coached offensive lines as I've seen in the entire landscape of college football. And this year they are all veterans. And I would say this, if you're going to go into a game with a young quarterback that's inexperienced, the one thing I want to have is a great offensive line. There's not going to be anything going on in that huddle that's not going to, McIntosh isn't going to be able to handle because he's got those 5 guys up front that have been around.
We're all set. It's football season. We're in DeKalb. The Blue Hose and the Huskies kick it off next. Rod Carey took over the job at Northern Illinois prior to the Orange Bowl. Ended up being a loss for NIU, but last year a 12-2 mark, 8-0 in the MAC, and a trip to the MAC championship game and the Poinsettia Bowl for Coach Carey's squad as the Huskies look to get back into that MAC championship game again. Harold Nichols, the man for Presbyterian in his 6th season. He has overseen pretty much this entire run since they became an FCS school. A former Presbyterian quarterback, Harold Nichols, hoping to get his first win against an FBS opponent. It's a little bit rainy here tonight, 75 degrees. Temperatures were pretty warm during the day, but with the cloud coverage and the rain moving in, it's at least cooled off a little bit, which is probably good for both of these teams. Our referees tonight, Greg Sujak will be wearing the white hat. There he is as he whistles the ball into play. It's all teed up for Tyler Weedle as Northern Illinois will kick it off to the Presbyterian Blue Hose. And the 2014 college football season is underway as the Blue Hose will bring it up. And not much room on the return to the 23-yard line as the tackle was made there by Michael Santa Catarina for Northern Illinois, one of the starting linebackers on special teams. You see DeKalb on the back of the Cornfest jerseys tonight for the Huskies. We'll tell you a little bit more about those as the night goes on. Northern Illinois with 26 consecutive home wins back on their home turf here tonight at Husky Stadium. They'll spread it out. Presbyterian will do that throughout the night. And Hayes McMath will keep it himself. Looking for some room up the middle was Santa Catarina again, who snuck through and shut down McMath, a short gain on first down.
One of the things I talked about early on was about McMath being 6'4", 200 pounds. Kind of an interesting call right out the gate. He stands tall in the pocket, probably more of a pure thrower, pure passer than he is a running quarterback. Shows some good athleticism from time to time. And again, a strong arm. Young guy out of Savannah, Georgia, Country Day High School.
Made 6 starts last year. So puts a man in motion and hands it off. Looking to turn the corner on the sideline and getting knocked out of bounds on the run attempt for Presbyterian was LaQuay Mays. We'll see a lot of Mays, really a two-way player for this team, can both run effectively and will catch the football. So he was run out of bounds on the sideline. Got about 6 yards there. They do move the chains. It's first down. They stack the receivers on both sides. As McMath will again work out of the gun. A quick screen and the catch made by Jeremiah Mackey. Mackey doesn't get much up that side of the field on the wide side, about 5 yards, before he was chopped down by Deshaun Durant.
Good recognition there by the Husky defense. You mentioned spreading the field. The one thing I've liked at play calling initially by Presbyterian is that, they're letting this young man, McMath, settle into the game just a bit before they start to throw the ball downfield. Get a couple dink passes here, and basically that last play that we saw, that's nothing more than a sweep. Just toss the ball out to the flat, get a blocker out in front, and get downfield.
They put tight end Chris Hurley on the wing here. And the first handoff to the tailback and a fumble. Still loose, and it's picked up by Northern Illinois. On the return for NIU, Paris Logan and the Huskies create a turnover on their first defensive try of the year.
Again, great recognition by the Northern Illinois defense. And here's a big hit. Big hit right there. The ball comes loose. This is the one thing from the Presbyterian side of the football. If you're going to come into the Husky Stadium and play this football team, the Northern Illinois Huskies, you had better remain as turnover-free as possible.
Matt McIntosh was named the starter about 45 minutes ago, and he has the first play of the day for the NIU offense. A handoff to Joel Boigno, and about a yard there. As Northern Illinois will likely use many quarterbacks, many running backs here tonight, Bob. McIntosh, we expect to see Drew Hare and Anthony Maddie as well.
Again, same from this side of the football. McIntosh, let him settle into a few things. A couple of short passes, a couple of, maybe a little bit of a pitch,
using his feet for the first time as he gets out to the 50-yard line. Not about 6 there, and in the history of this Northern program at the quarterback position, they like to run there. Jordan Lynch had more than 1,900 yards last year, 1,800 the year before that. They keep it on the ground, and a first down for Tommy Lee Lewis.
This Tommy Lee Lewis is quick. He is very quick. Getting back to McIntosh, that last play, the broken play, nobody open, takes the ball off to the left side. That was Jordan-esque. And that's why I said the like abilities when you recruit quarterbacks give you an opportunity to remain with continuity in your offense.
Lewis knocked out of bounds. Looks like he stepped out before he was pushed at the 40-yard line. Gain of about 7, and a nice block to set up this play.
Excellent block by the wide receiver. And that was, help me out here, Wayne.
Jerron Brown.
Jerron Brown.
They swing it out this time to Boigno, and he's about 2 yards short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and short here for Northern Illinois, and with this type of running offense quickly getting up to the line, they like to be in these 3rd and shorts.
This is very surprising for this young quarterback, the tempo of this offense right now. Just really, really impressive.
And he completes a pass to Chad Beebe, the son of former NFLer Don Beebe, who coaches at Aurora Christian High School. That's where Chad went to school. Only 2 catches last year. He's already got his first this year.
Again, I can't emphasize this enough, Wayne. Early on, first game management, getting substitution in without having to call a timeout, having enough players or not having enough players. Just the whole deal. Very impressive.
Boigno drops the ball and fell on it in case it was a backward pass, but it wasn't. It goes down as incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
When you know huddle, that's a lot of pressure on a quarterback. Gets a sign for the signal from the sideline, comes in, gets the play in a timely fashion. Early on. I don't want to, I don't want him to get him the Heisman Trophy yet or anything like that. But early on, let me tell you something. This is impressive for this young guy.
The whistle blows here, a flag up on the far sideline. It looks like Tommy Lee Lewis jumped into motion too quickly. So the first penalty of the day against Northern Illinois puts them back to 2nd and 15.
Last year looking at McIntosh and looking at him this year, he must have spent a lot of time in the weight room. He really looks good at 215 pounds.
And Lewis in motion. McIntosh looking to go deep to the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown, Deron Brown.
Hello.
Both of Matt McIntosh's completions last year were touchdown passes. Deron Brown had 9 a year ago, and he's got number 1 this year. Tyler Weedle for the point after, and the Huskies create a turnover on defense. In Presbyterian's opening possession, they score 7 on their first try, and it's Northern Illinois out on top early. IU with a 7-0 advantage after a turnover, a quick strike from the Huskies offense.
I mean, we come right in at what we call sudden change. In other words, the defense turned the football over for Northern Illinois. What do you do after sudden change? And exactly what you do is what the Northern Illinois offense did. And I will say this, this is like not skipping a beat. I'm a bit shocked. If this continues this way all night, I'll be really, really shocked. This is a great coaching job. And again, the management, the game management with the substitutions in this type of offense and getting the plays in a timely fashion. I mean, you can't deny that. This is amazing to me from a coaching standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of football that have to be played here this evening, Wayne, but thus far, I mean, this is like a flashback.
It was Marlon Moore who forced the fumble for Northern Illinois. And now it's Presbyterian back on offense after the touchback off the boot from Weedle. Blue Hose will get it from their own 25. Rod Carey has to be pleased. He said he wouldn't be happy if the offense didn't have success tonight. So far, so good. 8 plays, 58 yards on their opening drive.
And getting back to the throw from McIntosh, that ball just had enough air under it. Anything with a longer, he would have led his wide receiver right out of the back of the end zone. Anything shorter could have been an interception. Perfect throw, perfect trajectory.
3 receivers on the short side of the field. They run it on first down, and no holes there, as the tackle was made by Boomer Mays, the middle linebacker, and really the linebacking core for Northern Illinois. One of the few consistencies they have on defense.
They are a fly-around pursuit defensive team. I really like this Boomer Mays. I think he is a prototype middle linebacker, 6 feet tall, 243 pounds, technically sound.
Darrell Bridges in at tailback. Receivers on each side for the quarterback, Hayes McMath. In trouble, but he steps up and completes. And getting pushed out of bounds, or pushed near the sideline, rather. The catch made by Antigua. He didn't get much there, maybe a yard, Bob.
One of the things you're going to see here is this, okay? They're wide receivers, and basically, you know, one back in the backfield, no backs in the backfield. They are going to have to block for each other. Blocking by the wide receivers is going to be critical for Presbyterian during this game. To get those extra 5 yards, 10 yards, move the chains. They've got to keep this Husky offense off the field. Eat up the clock, do as best as you can.
They bring 3 on third down. 1 gets through, and nothing again as the Huskies defense steps up to make a play. Albert Smalls, the true freshman, with the tackle in the backfield. A loss of 1. They'll punt.
Good tackle. That's a good, clean tackle. It's a shoulder tackle. Again, textbook. When you're a freshman, you make a play like that, you are feeling good.
Stephen Doors, the punter for Presbyterian. A booming kick here by Dorr as Tommy Lee Lewis grabs it from the 25 with some space. A seam for Lewis, and tackled from behind. A saving tackle there from Chris Hurley.
I will tell you, I've said this time and again, very few football teams practice tackling their special teams. Hurley right here, an outstanding job of an open field tackle against a fine athlete. again, that's just, your head to the upfield side of the ball carrier. Nice job, young man. Nice job.
Now Matt McIntosh leads back the NIU offense. 8 plays, 58 yards on the first try. They'll take it again from their own 42. And some movement on the offensive line. Like it might have been the tight end Maxwell.
61 offense. First down.
The flag, Aiden Conlon, the left guard, but Bob, this offensive line returning 4 starters plus Tyler Pitt, a redshirt senior, is also back. 1st and 15 and some room up the middle for Boigno. He's gotten all the carries so far. I haven't seen Hakeem Daniels, who missed all of last year with a foot injury, but was the second leading rusher for the Huskies behind Lynch in 2012.
When you talk about that offside, that 5-yard penalty, Brian Brown, great offensive tackle, number 78 for the Huskies, was asked about a different quarterback in the huddle, and he said, you know what, maybe the cadence will change a little bit, but we'll settle into it.
A pitch to Boigno. Broke a tackle initially and some extra effort to push near midfield. It'll be 3rd and short for Northern Illinois, and that's really been what we've heard all week, Bob, from the Huskies. Yeah, different quarterback, but everything else is largely the same.
And that's a luxury, especially with the type of offensive line, as we mentioned on the open, as this offensive line. I asked Rod Carey, I said, you got a pretty good offensive line coach. How about the guy that coached the offensive line before him? He said he's not as good as the guy we've got right now. And you know who that guy was?
McIntosh gets the first down.
It was Rod Carey himself, who was a three-year starter at the University of Indiana in the offensive line and the captain under Bill Mallory, a former NIU head football coach.
Rod Carey, the center for that team. He's largely been an offensive line coach until becoming the offensive coordinator and then head coach for NIU. Boigno again as he stumbles through. Nobody wanted to tackle him. Boigno kind of just tripped over his own feet as he gets another first down to the 30-yard line.
He had his shoulder square. You always teach in running back, keep your shoulders square. That'll give you a 3-way go. You turn your shoulders, you basically give yourself a 2-way go. Kept the shoulders square, jumped outside, good vision.
5 on the line for Presbyterian. McIntosh, lots of time. Big strike over the middle, too high. Intended for Tommy Lee Lewis at the 5-yard line.
That ball's thrown to Tommy Lee Lewis 10 times, he makes 9 catches. Very catchable ball for a wide receiver with his abilities. Tommy Lee Lewis is on the Paul Hornung watch list as one of the most versatile players in the country.
2nd down and a handoff to Deron Brown. A lot of versatility for Northern. And Brown to the 24, gains 6.
Presbyterian defense is going to have to tackle the football down here. They really, really need to get a turnover. This momentum with the Northern Illinois offense is, something they've got to try to make something happen. I like the play calling. I really like the play calling by Coach Carey.
3rd down, back on the ground. And very close to the first down marker is Hakeem Daniels. First touch for him. Looks like he's about a half-yard short, though, Bob.
This is tough duty for this defensive line from Presbyterian. The Northern is just coming in waves. It's so tiring for a defensive line.
4th and short. Might as well stick behind that senior-laden offensive line, and McIntosh does. Pushes ahead for the first down.
That call right there does not at all surprise me. And why he was able to make that play and get that, because of patience. And what I mean by that, just to get the ball and zingo, go right in there just like that, that's not going to happen. You got to look for that lateral crease in the defense. And that's what McIntosh did, and did it well.
Swing pass this time on first down. Beebe along the sideline to about the 14. He stepped out. Gain of 5. First impressions on McIntosh?
Very impressed. Just the way he's handling the offense, the momentum. They had one, basically a penalty with a new quarterback, and executing the offense, running the football himself, finding that crease, taking it, getting the first down.
Boigno fumbled, and it's recovered by Presbyterian. We'll see if they ruled Boigno down back at the 10. Looks like they do. Well, they're still discussing it, so we'll see. And it is Presbyterian football, a fumble. The Huskies turn it over. What'd you think?
I think it's a fumble because oh, wait a second. No, I have to say I disagree with that call.
Yeah, that right knee looked like it was down before he spun.
At first, I thought he was totally on top of the tackler. Here we go. The knee is down. He still has possession. Now the ball comes out. I think this, well, I'm not going to predict, but I'm not predicting. I am not going to predict. I will say this, these Mid-American Conference officials, they are really, really good. They're consistent, and that's what you want to have.
Greg Sujak goes under the headset. They'll discuss it. Harold Nichols could be seeing his team pick up a major turnover in the red zone. Last year, Presbyterian had a crack at Wake Forest. They took a 7-0 lead in that game, but ended up losing 31-7 as the Blue Hose are still trying to find their identity now as an FCS team.
Well, beside their conference, out of non-conference, they're at NC State and then at Ole Miss later in the year. That's a tall order.
Out of the Big South, they were 1-4 last year. Doing the quarterback switch in their own right last year between Hayes McMath and Caleb Griffin. They pretty much split the starts. McMath had 6, Griffin had 4. I'm sure we'll see Caleb Griffin at some point, at least this season, if not tonight, for Presbyterian. This could be a big moment for the Blue Hose. They don't want to go 2 scores down here against Northern, especially with the way NIU's offense has clicked early on.
You know, and that's exactly, as I mentioned before, this is exactly what they needed, a turnover. Here's another look. This is the best look I think we can get. Great camera work by our guys. That's good stuff right there. His knee is down. He appears to have possession. Had the knee not been down and he rolled over onto the defender, you know, it would be a whole other deal. But it looked as though the knee were down. But I'm not an official. I've never been one. I've had conversations with them from time to time.
Still waiting to see what Greg Sujak is going to end up with here after the challenge. The ruling on the field is a fumble, so they need indisputable evidence that Guanyo's knee was down before the ball came loose. And without that, the call will remain a fumble and Presbyterian will recover. Let's see. It's like we can't really hear what Greg Sujak is saying, but he's about to point in a certain direction. And once he does, we'll know the call, and it looks like Northern Illinois will keep the football. They ruled that the runner was down by contact, that his knee did touch the ground before the ball came loose. So, Bob, early season review, and you're 1 for 1. Harold Nichols 0 for 1 so far, and his replays going against him. Rod Carey's challenge works out, and the Huskies will have it. 3rd down and short at about the 12-yard line. Send Buonio out to the wide side. McIntosh looks to throw that way, finds Buonio, looking for the 9-yard line, and he's cut down back at the 15. Great tackle coming from the linebacker position, Ed Britt.
Good recognition by Britt. Good angle of pursuit. Nice tackle. Good job all around for the young guy.
Now field goal attempt. Tyler Weedle was 3 of 5 on field goals last year. Josh Orn is the holder for NIU. 10 from 32 yards, and it is good for Tyler Weedle. 2 possessions for Northern Illinois, 2 scores, and they have a 10-0 lead. Matt McIntosh leading the Huskies. A call didn't go Harold Nichols' way, and NIU settles for 3. All of a sudden, a need to stay dry here as the rain starts to fall pretty heavily in DeKalb. Northern Illinois is off to a 10-0 lead. Under 5 minutes to go in this opening quarter. And the post-Jordan Lynch era for NIU, it's been a good start for Matt McIntosh. From the 4-yard line, it's Mackey trying to turn it back upfield. He's still on his feet, but finally tripped right before the 20-yard line. NIU's covered both of the kicks well so far, and it's been Santa Catarina each time.
I'm a big fan of this young guy, Santa Catarina. His high school is basically down the street, Geneva High School, matriculated here to Northern Illinois, and has worked so hard for a starting position. This great job on special teams, plays with a lot of heart.
Hayes McMath goes back to work. Probably a sigh of relief from Presbyterian that they held NIU to a field goal in the last possession. And the offensive line started before the ball did, so the Blue Hose will go backward. Having some trouble with our official's microphone, but a false start against Presbyterian. Pretty much waved the entire offensive line here, Bob.
Well, right here, somebody's not on the right page.
I think the official said number 65, number 54, number 60.
And repeat after me, left to right.
And another snap before McMath was ready, and he's too strong on that pass attempt to Antigua. The ball kind of caught McMath on that snap.
Presbyterian right now, the coaches up in the booth right now, they have to get some plays down onto the field that are very basic plays. You know, that little hitch pass I mentioned before, that's nothing more than an elongated pitch out when you had a fullback and a tailback. And then the wide receivers are going to have to come downfield, do a good job of blocking for each other. That's the way they're going to be able to stay in this game.
Handed off to the man in motion on a sweep play as Jeremiah Mackey gets to the 20, so it'll be 3rd down and 9 here for Presbyterian.
You know, if you're going to talk about Northern Illinois, they have a great deal of respect for Antigua and Mackey. They're going to do things to try to confuse the quarterback, Hayes McMath. They're going to try to confuse him. Now the other wide receivers have to step up, especially if they start to double these guys.
What do you want to see from them on 3rd down?
Well, I think, 3rd and 9 right now. I don't think you throw the ball downfield. I think it's a safe pass, maybe a 7 or 8 yard out or a quick slant and count on yards after catch.
They didn't get him. Antigua didn't make the catch as they went soft over the middle. One of the top receivers in the Big South. He was 5th in the conference last year with 8 touchdowns, but a drop on 3rd down. And now Presbyterian will punt.
And when he's a long strider, and that's what I was talking about, yards after catch, you're not going to throw the ball downfield under these circumstances. Northern Illinois is going to keep the ball inside in front of the defense.
Stephen Dorr averaged about 38 yards per punt last year as Tommy Lee Lewis waits back at his own 40. Some pressure from the Huskies, but Lewis has to back up again. Runs a circle around the ball as he looks to make a move. A shimmy to the 36-yard line. And Northern Illinois will bring out their offense. Once again, they've scored on each of their first 2 possessions. The Huskies out to a 10-0 lead on opening night in DeKalb. Good start for NIU, up 10-0, 3:47 left in the first quarter against Presbyterian College. The Blue Hose got that name because those were the socks that they wore back in the early 1900s. And wearing blue socks right there, Bo Schembechler.
As we look at this picture to the far right, that is Glenn E. Bo Schembechler, one of the finest football coaches ever in the college ranks. I had an opportunity to coach for him for over 13 years. That was his first job after serving in the United States Army. He talked about getting in his 1950 or whatever Chevy convertible and driving from Fort Rucker up to Presbyterian and becoming an assistant football coach. Bo Schembechler, one of the greatest football coaches of all time, and in my opinion, even a greater person.
Presbyterian College out of Clinton, South Carolina. As the handoff here goes to Akeem Daniels, he's shoved out of bounds. Getting a few yards along the sideline, it'll be 2nd down and 7. What was it like coaching under Bo and being a part of that Michigan tenure?
Wayne, I could actually say that I never worked a day in my life when I worked for Bo. It was an honor, and as great a coach as he was, as I mentioned, he was even a greater human being. I can't say enough about the man. I miss him dearly every day of my life. You know, I have to take our hats off to our producer, Sam Ramos, for coming up with that picture. Sam and I talked last week about this, and I had mentioned Bo. And Sam, thank you so much for me, and I know from our viewers that just a little bit of trivia, but for me, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it, Sam.
5 receivers out there for NIU, an empty backfield on 3rd and 6. Still time for McIntosh, and Tommy Lee Lewis catches it for the first down. Ganged up inside the 40. Got 11 there, and they move the chains.
One of the things as I'm watching McIntosh, he's doing an excellent job of going through a progression. In this case, it was left to right, putting the football right on the money. He's very mature so far. Now, here I go bragging about him, and he throws a ground ball over to third base.
Tommy Lee Lewis couldn't pick up the short hop. Wouldn't have counted anyway. 2nd down and 10.
Sometimes the hardest throw should obviously be the easiest throw.
Those are the ones you're thinking about.
Pitch and catch. But again, going through a progression like that for a young quarterback.
Daniels adds an extra blocker and a catch for Deron Brown. Presbyterian 2 yards short of the first. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Sorry, Wayne. The Presbyterian playing a little bit of a soft coverage, and McIntosh is seeing that. You know, take what the defense gives. They're playing a soft coverage. Throw those hitch routes. Throw a hitch route, then fake the hitch and go downfield the way they did last to Deron Brown.
Daniels gets it on 3rd down. Turns the edge and gets the first. Steps out of bounds after a big gain. The Huskies now 5 for 7 on 3rd down tonight.
Excellent play selection. Good job by the offensive line. Good job by Daniels. I mean, he lowers his shoulder. He was not going to step out of bounds.
Back in the red zone, McIntosh on play action decides to run. He has space to the 10.
Daniels was fooled on that play. He just pulled up and stopped. Good job of recognition by McIntosh. Daniels said, Coach, I don't know if that's the play I thought we were going to run. Good job by McIntosh. Again, how much more can you say about this offensive line?
Wide side screen to Daniels. Pushing upfield. Daniels gets a first down to the 6. Goal to go for Northern Illinois, looking to go up 17.
The tempo is impressive. I mean, this Presbyterian's defense has just been on the field way too long.
Now Daniels going up the middle to the 4, make that the 3-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal there for NIU. I mean, the physicality of this offensive line, in a game that's largely won in the trenches, Rod Carey's strength really is a problem for a team like Presbyterian.
Wayne, I think it'll be a problem for anybody they play. And I mean that sincerely.
Stack up the line here. Lewis in motion. He gets the handoff on the sweep and right to the goal line. He's not in. About a half-yard shy for Tommy Lee Lewis. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Now, if you think about the Presbyterian front, 230 pounds, 240 and 230. And Tyler Luce to Ryan Brown, left to right, 302, 297, 298, 314 and 297.
Joel Buono straight up the gut to finish a 12-play drive. And Northern Illinois scores another touchdown. A flag did come in at the end of the play. We'll see if that affects the 6 points for the Huskies. Personal foul against Northern Illinois. It came after the touchdown, so the score does count for Buono, and Rob Sterling gets called for the personal foul.
Rob Sterling will be, I'm sure, met as he comes off the field by Coach Carey.
They will attack the 15 yards on the extra point, rather the kickoff. Tyler Weedle with the extra point. And a great start for NIU. Everything clicking for the Huskies. A 17-0 advantage. A minute 12 left in this opening quarter. 12 plays, 64 yards. And it was Joel Buonio to finish it off.
I mean, a good surge by the right side. Tyler Pitt, Ryan Brown. Wayne, look at the size of that seam that they create against that defense.
That's a touchdown for you, Bob, if you're the running back.
Tyler Pitt, Ness, Brown. How much more can you say? I mean, this is a great shot right here. This is the way coaches like to evaluate it right there.
You see Sterling kind of wrestling after the play with Ed Britt. That's where the personal foul came in. Sterling, number 47, the lead blocker. He was part of that big hole setting up Buonio. And Rod Carey has to be pleased with what he's seen here in the first quarter of this game.
If you're Presbyterian now right up front, I mean, this has been a total mismatch. And no criticism to the young guys that are playing for Presbyterian. But from a coaching standpoint, you cannot remain static. And what I mean by static is you can't go one-on-one with this offensive line. They're going to have to create some twists and some turns with defensive linemen, bring a linebacker here, bring a safety. They're going to have to take some chances. I mean, and, you know, the greater the risk, the greater the return. However, the greater the risk, the greater return for the offense if it doesn't work. But in this situation right now, you can't go man on man with these guys. And you know, as a coach, you play with the cards you have, and that happens to be the defensive line that they have. But as I mentioned, 230 pounds, 230, 240, 230. That's tough duty for those guys. And you know, when you bring a travel team, you don't bring as many guys, so substitutions aren't as readily available, even if they're lesser players.
Kickoff from the 20-yard line because of the personal foul. Running room perhaps from the 15. Well, unable to take advantage for Presbyterian was Levent Sands, as he only could get up to the 28-yard line, so just a 13-yard return. And Northern, we talk about their offense, they've clicked. The defense pitching a shutout so far, and the special teams has covered each kickoff excellently.
Well, I'm not so sure of Presbyterian right now. 1:07 left in the first quarter. They might want to take a shot. A deep shot. They haven't really, with the exception of one. You know, I mean, why not?
Antigua in motion. And it's the quarterback, McMath, who hands it off to Darrell Bridges. He gets a couple of yards to the 30-yard line. They've been pretty safe with their play calling, it seems, in this first quarter.
Well, they got to play a little bit of a field position game also. I mean, you can only do what you know how to do and throw a few wrinkles in there. You can't change an offense because you're coming in to play, a great defense and a great football team like Northern Illinois. Hey, this Boomer Mays in the middle, he is everywhere. He is an active Mike linebacker.
Antigua in motion, looking to pass. McMath airs it out for the first time. And through the hands of his intended receiver, as Hallams was under it, had a step on his defender, and couldn't bring it in.
They needed that one. They really needed that one. That's what I was referring to early on in the series. Take a shot downtown. Playing it's all man-to-man coverage by Northern thus far, and they feel very confident they can cover these receivers. You know, doubling up Toby Antigua here and there, and as well as Jeremiah McKee. Have to avoid these long third down plays.
Pressure on third down, and down goes McMath. Jason Meehan, the senior who was 5th in the MAC in sacks last year, brings down McMath, keeping Presbyterian over on third down today. First quarter comes to an end with that Meehan sack. He had 6 a year ago. And Hayes McMath, after a rough first quarter for Presbyterian. The Blue Hose will have to punt. The Huskies looking pretty in the first quarter here in DeKalb. And a 17-0 start for the defending MAC West champs. 14-0 Northern Illinois with the lead over Presbyterian starting the second quarter. This opening night of the college football season from DeKalb. Husky Stadium, and this weekend, one of the great festivals in the state of Illinois, Corn Fest, takes place here in DeKalb. And you see representing Corn Fest on the NIU jerseys with the corn and the barbed wire, where DeKalb is certainly known for both of those things. Joseph Glidden invented barbed wire right here in DeKalb, and all the players have DeKalb on the back of their jerseys. As a punt begins this fourth quarter, Doerr's been busy. Waving for a fair catch and making it is Chad Beebe for NIU, and now the Huskies bring out their offense once again. Working with a big lead, though, after a very efficient first quarter, 33 total plays, Bob, 175 yards.
Very impressive. You mentioned the jerseys. These jerseys are going to be auctioned off after the game, and the money's going to go to charities throughout the DeKalb area, which I think is really a great idea.
I'll be auctioning off the jerseys at cornfest.com. No last names on the jerseys today for NIU. They'll go back to their regular look next week when they're in Evanston to play Northwestern. First play of the drive for Northern. Nice run for Akeem Daniels. It seems like every time the Huskies have put the ball on the ground today, there's been excess room. And Daniels got about 8, maybe 9 to make it 2nd and 1. Daniels again, the lone setback, as Deron Brown lays out and makes the catch. First down to the 46-yard line. Matt McIntosh with a quick strike as he completes another pass. He's now 11 of 15.
Deron Brown made a great physical adjustment to the football. I mean, it shows his strength and not only his strength, his athleticism, and the fact that he's a senior, Chicago Morgan Park High School, all Chicago Public League during his day. Great adjustment to the football. He was a great recruit. They've done Northern Illinois has just done a magnificent job of recruiting through the past, as I mentioned, 10 years. I mean, they've gotten out of their demographic just a little bit, but at the same time, basically they recruit the greater Chicagoland area. When I coached here, we used to call it recruiting the state of Chicago. Yeah. But then, the sprinkling a guy from Florida, a couple guys from down south here and there, and that's it's great. It's impressive. The school has so much to offer.
Change of quarterback, Drew Hare in there now. He puts it in the belly of Akeem Daniels, and Daniels gets a first down and more. Looking for contact as Daniels goes down inside the 20. Didn't want to tiptoe out of bounds there, Bob. He went right after the defense, and a huge run there for Daniels.
Watch Deron Brown to the bottom of your screen. Watch him. Maybe we can get another shot right there, but what a block downfield. I mean, what a block. Deron Brown, my hat is off to you, young man. I know you like to catch passes and run with the football, but you block like that, you're going to turn a lot of heads from these NFL scouts.
After a 29-yard run, they go to the reverse. And Tommy Lee Lewis ends up down in the backfield at the 23-yard line. Good coverage there by Corey White for Presbyterian. Be 2nd and 13. Rod Carey trying something a little different there on 1st and 10. The tight end Ickes in the wing. 3 receivers spread out wide. And a handoff to Buonyo. Touchdown! 23-yard run for Buonyo. They let the offensive line do their work. The running backs handle the rest.
Look at the push they get there. Look at the technique, pad under pad. Bringing, that's textbook offensive line play. Joe Tripodi, offensive line coach from Northern Illinois. Great job, Coach Tripodi. Great job.
Tyler Weedle with the point after. It's been all Northern tonight. Joel Buonyo has 2 touchdown runs. Akeem Daniels helped set it up. Buonyo finished it off. NIU with a 24-0 lead early in the second quarter here in DeKalb. Bob, I think I see your old dorm room up there.
Actually, I lived in that on about the 15th floor. I lived up there during the transition for a couple of months.
Did you live with anyone?
Lee Corso.
That must have been fun.
It was a thrill a minute.
1983 California Bowl.
Now, look, we were the year after that, maybe it was 84. If you're Presbyterian and you want to move up and find a niche at the next level, you have to play these kind of games. If you want to improve your facilities, if you want to attract recruits with first-class weight room, good academic support and all that, you have to play these games. But it's not easy. Obviously not easy. And yet looking at a trip into NC State and then down to Oxford to play Ole Miss.
A flag will bring this one back. Jeremiah Mackey out of bounds at the 40. The flag is back at the 15-yard line. And it will be against Presbyterian, a hold. Even when something good does happen for the Blue Hose, Bob, it goes right back with some laundry on the field.
During the return. On the return team. This is the goal.
Greg Sujak, the head official tonight. It's been raining here, but it doesn't seem like either team's really been bothered by it.
Yeah, I think it's been raining, but there's almost absolutely no wind at all. If you look at the flags in the end zone, and here and there's maybe a little bit of a breeze.
You can see how hard it is, the rain falling. Bob trying
to see how hard it's raining out there. But again, like I said, there's not a lot of wind. You get rain is one thing, wind and rain, that's a whole nother deal.
So Presbyterian starts this drive back at their own 7 after the penalty. A holding on the kick return by Mackey. Handoff on first down, nothing. As Darrell Bridges gets wrapped up immediately, Boomer Mays found his way through the hole again. Second down and 9. They're going to spread it out here on second down, deep in their own territory. 5 receivers. Santa Catarina showing up in the box, 5 in front for Northern. They rush 4. McMath in trouble. Down he goes. Sacked at the 6-yard line. There he is again, Boomer Mays.
This young guy is having quite an evening. You know, he's such a leverage guy. I mean, at 6 feet, 243 pounds. I mean, don't get me wrong that way. I'm not going to canonize him here as a linebacker, but that's Mike Singletary type of size. Guys with great strength. They get on their pads. They make plays. Very instinctive.
Third down. McMath steps out and gets to the 12, short of the first by about a half dozen. So a punt will be coming from Presbyterian as the Blue Hose offense just can't get rolling tonight. 3 and out on this possession.
You know, we've showered quite a few accolades on the Northern Illinois offensive line, but this defensive line with Meehan, Compton, Lee, and Ford, they're doing an outstanding job also. And they can play man-on-man defense with Presbyterian.
And outside of Meehan, they were a question mark. Not much returning on the defensive line. Ben Compton's a junior, but he's a transfer. Redshirt freshman William Lee, and Perez Ford, also a junior who hasn't seen much playing time. Another good kick from Dorr as Beebe looks for some room. Gets through the first set of defenders and into Presbyterian territory to the 45. Well, Northern Illinois in this one has been able to run the football pretty much at will. I mean, Daniels, even McIntyre.
I mean, you know, these running backs, the first thing they're going to think about is after this game is over. If I'm Daniels, if I'm McIntyre, I'm going in that locker room. I'm going to thank every single one of those guys. And again, it's basically what we mentioned in the open and what we expected.
Drew Hare held on to the ball too long, and he gets sacked by Darius Norfleet. He had just 1 sack all of last year, the junior. Hare kept that ball forever.
kept it too long. I mean, I don't think there's any question. But see, he's different now. I mean, I see him. He's different than McIntosh. Should he get an opportunity here? I don't think there's any question he should get an opportunity here. But I don't think he has like abilities to McIntosh.
They run it on 2nd and long, get some of the yards back. Is McIntosh done, you think?
That's a good question. He may come back in the third quarter. I think, we may see, yet a third quarterback. This is the kind of a game. I mentioned the defensive line. You mentioned some questions about the defensive line. I mean, you have to be realistic. I mean, there's no question about it. But at the same time, this is a good game for players that are inexperienced, that haven't had a chance to take the field as starters.
Time for Drew Hare and a receiver on the sidelines. Deron Brown keeps the toes down at the 33-yard line, first down.
Good pitch and catch. Nice job by Hare. And, you've heard me say this so many times. See, he catches the football with his hands. He catches the football with his hands. It's not a thud. It's just, you can almost, when you're a coach, you hear a wide receiver and tell whether he's catching the ball with his hands or whether he's catching the ball against his pads. Great job there of catching the ball with the hands. Great concentration, putting the football away.
Daniels got 7 on that first down run, took it outside. Now 2nd and 3. Northern keeps the no-huddle offense going. And Hare hands it back to Daniels. He gets another first down. Dances to the 21.
Now that mesh right there, and when I'm talking about the mesh, is the action between the quarterback and the running back. Drew Hare, he had to make a little bit of an adjustment to Daniels because Daniels is a little bit shorter and Hare's a little bit taller, and right there that comes with experience.
Quick strike from Hare. A little bit behind Deron Brown. Good job there by Kevin Crawford to break that play up. Had that ball been in front of the receiver, he might have been able to catch it, but a little behind him, and Crawford got his hands in.
Yeah, he great recognition by Crawford and a good drive. No extra steps in the back pedal, just right now coming in to make the play.
2nd down and they run. Akeem Daniels to the 14. Got about 7. It'll be 3rd and 3. It's nice for the Huskies to have Daniels back. Cameron Stingley will be back. He'll miss about a month. Stingley was the 2nd leading rusher last year behind Lynch. Back in the belly of Daniels, pushing to the 10, and another first down.
Drew Hare steps up, comes right in, and, great recognition, getting the play called, getting called in a timely fashion, getting the substitutions, getting the calls. Good game management, not only by Drew Hare, but by the offensive coaches from Northern Illinois.
On 1st and goal, they run. Buonio's got 2 touchdowns already. And he gets a push to the 7-yard line, a gain of 3. Joel Buonio, 7 carries, now 8 for 56 yards and the 2 scores, while Daniels has a dozen carries for 93 yards. Buonio again to the 4. Systematic from this NIU offense as they continue to glide behind this massive offensive line. They've already racked up close to 200 yards of rushing. 3rd down and goal from the 4. Do you see the ball in the air this time, Bob?
I think so. I really do. I think I think it'll just be a quick slant or maybe just a fundamental fade.
Brown in motion. Hare rolls out. Looking end zone. And the ball's wide. Wouldn't have counted anyway as the intended receiver in the end zone, Jawan Breskison, was standing out of bounds when the ball was approaching. Got to make sure you stay in bounds.
Well, and Drew Hare kind of threw a little bit of a sidearm pass right there. He was, a quick motion to the sideline and threw the ball a little bit across his body.
So unable to execute in the red zone, NIU sends Weedle back out. Knocked a 32-yard field goal earlier. This one will be just about an extra point, 21 yards out. Weedle is no good as he pushed it to the right, so a glorified extra point. Tyler Weedle unable to connect. Northern Illinois doesn't score on this trip to the red zone. 7:09 left in the first half, and the Huskies Still nursing a big lead, 24-0. NIU's got a 24-0 lead, 7:09 left in the first half. Opening night here in DeKalb. Throughout college football, let's take a look at the Cheswick Practice Center. The Ordnance Center back beyond the goalpost. Raining here at Northern tonight. They've certainly made some upgrades to this facility, Bob.
I mean, this Cheswick Center is totally first class. I had a chance to walk through it last year. A great investment in the program. And again, and the one thing I like about it, it's for multiple sports. It's just not for football.
Darrell Bridges running on first down, and whatever Northern has done well tonight, Presbyterian has not followed up. Bridges gets maybe a yard. Really the first time Bridges has appeared in a college game, redshirted last year. At 2,400 plus yards as a running back rushing in Georgia at Ridgeland High School. In his senior year there, as you see the practice center, the great big facility they've added on in this last few years, and Northern Illinois starting to make bigger strides to really be one of the power schools in the MAC. Second down, that's a new quarterback. That is still Hayes McMath, and he dumps it off to Jordan Hallams. Good job there by McMath. Looked like he was going to run out of bounds or at least throw one along the sideline. Instead, reached back behind his body and dumped it over the middle.
Quarterback rolling to his left, and throw again, rolling to his left, right-handed quarterback. That's a good throw right there.
3rd and 2. Math goes over the top too far for the intended receiver and nearly intercepted. A little bit of a fade, and Antigua didn't bite.
Or they had double coverage. They had a man underneath and a man over the top. That's called combination coverage. I think there may have been a miscommunication the way Antigua was talking to McMath right now.
Presbyterian will have to punt again. Stephen Dorr has been very active in this game. Marlon Moore stands back at his own 30 waiting for the kick from Dorr. Moore tells everyone to get away. It takes a blue hose roll. It ends up at the 27-yard line. So Northern Illinois will bring out their offense once again with a big lead. 5:48 left in this first half. Huskies up 24-zip. It might be raining, but spirits still high. Northern Illinois a 24-0 lead over Presbyterian. Been a good night for the Huskies. Matt McIntosh looked great as the starting quarterback tonight. Drew Hare has been out there most of this second quarter now. But McIntosh, 10 of 14, 87 yards and a touchdown. Plus NIU's racked up nearly 180 yards of rushing. Not so much with the quarterback, but we're seeing Akeem Daniels and Joel Buonio share the load. And on first down, it's Daniels across the 30.
You know, Wayne, you're a college student. It's raining. You're having a good time. You've got a great football team. Corn Fest starts on Friday. Hey, life is good. Where do we sign up?
Holiday weekend as Hare rolls out, finds a connection along the sideline. As Breskison makes the catch and out of bounds at the 35, it'll be 3rd and 2.
I like the way they're calling the plays, the way Coach Terry's calling the plays. I like the way they're getting quarterbacks, getting this second team quarterback, if you will, experience at different types of throws.
They continue to convert on third downs. That time, Buonio to the 39. It's a lot easier to convert, Bob, when you're in third and less than 4 or 5, which they've been all night.
Here's the thing, though. Regardless of your opponent on an evening like this, I mean, almost turnover-free and penalty-free football. For an opening game with a quarterback, now we got 2 quarterbacks that basically don't have a lot of experience. I think that's very impressive. And in a word, that's coaching.
2nd and 4 after that completion to Deron Brown. Now Hare goes back in the air with the swing pass to the sideline, dancing to the first down. After the reception, Argyros Turner, first time we've seen Turner tonight. Although the sophomore does expect to be a much bigger part of the offense after making 3 starts last year as a true freshman. Now in Presbyterian territory, Hare with a quick strike to Brown. Trying to shed that tackle, but he's taken down at the 43. Shaquille Byers makes the stop.
I like those quick hitches to Brown because he's certainly very prolific at runs after catch.
Byers with that tackle. They call Shaquille Byers Snoop. Another running play on second and short, and another first down. It's Buonio who gets the first. 19 first downs for Northern Illinois in this game against just 1 for Presbyterian.
He stretched the Presbyterian defense, and a great plant in his leg and took off, and great cutback run.
Buonio with some room up the middle. Small holes that he's able to skirt through and a gain of 8.
Wayne, I'm going to state the obvious. This Buonio, he is an impressive running back. He's got that little shake, and again, and not afraid to lower his shoulder, not afraid to get that extra little bit of lean. That little stagger step that he takes in there. I mean, you've seen a lot of great running backs. And why do you do that? You do that because it buys you a little time to see where that crease is at. That's natural ability.
First down number 20 tonight for the Huskies after that pickup. And they stick with the ground attack on a rainy night. A big lead, trying to get this game to halftime. Not seeing too much from Drew Hare, though. McIntosh certainly extended himself at the quarterback position, throwing 14 passes in the first quarter and a half. But since Hare's come in, they've almost strictly been a ground attack. Hare, the redshirt sophomore, 3rd string last year. He's going to air it out this time, and he fires to the end zone too far. Off the fingertips of Beebe. Well, one thing we've seen tonight is Chad Beebe, who had 2 catches all of last year, become a much more focused receiver in the game plan tonight.
He is quick.
Well, at Don Beebe running school, that's what it's all about.
I don't think there's any question next week when they line up against the Wildcats, McIntosh will be under center on the first offensive play. I would be surprised if he wasn't.
Drew Hare takes off with the pressure coming and down to the 9. It'll be 1st and goal, another 3rd down conversion.
Drew Hare shows some athleticism there. He really did. Took off with the football, good ball security, goes for his progression, nothing there, tucks the football away.
Beebe in motion, 1st and goal. Buonio's got 2 touchdowns, trying to make it a 3rd. He does, touchdown. A 9-yarder for Joel Buonio. And NIU strikes again. Weedle on the point after, and it's 31-0. Northern Illinois has racked up 228 rushing yards. Joel Buonio has gotten in the end zone 3 times.
Aiden Conlon pulls out, gets upfield, gets a head on a linebacker. Nice job by Conlon pulling, 6'3", 297 pounds, and you're a linebacker looking at him and saying to yourself, uh-oh.
No chance for Ed Britt. Finally, Buonio cut down the goal line, but able to get in. It's raining harder now than it has all night. It's pouring. The fans starting to scatter, a lot of them wearing red ponchos. For those who aren't, they're trying to seek cover. It's really coming down. Haven't seen any lightning or haven't heard any thunder, but
Looking at the student section, maybe it's only raining on this side.
It's raining over there. They like it.
They are rocking and rolling.
That guy's having a red riot.
I'm just glad to see all these students here. I really am.
Yeah, really filled up right before kickoff. That section was only about half full. They must have been outside tailgating because they all rushed in as soon as the ball went in the air. A celebration of the start of the season here in DeKalb tonight. They'll be much more focused on the game next week at Northwestern. Mackey takes it out of the end zone. Breaks through the first line of defense.
Nice effort.
Crosses the 20-yard line. To the 23 goes Mackey.
Nice effort by the young man.
Now one of the more dynamic players in the Big South. Not really a showcase for Presbyterian, but Jeremiah Mackey is going to be a guy they lean on.
I mean, right here. First contact, yards after contact, sets a hand down, keeps his feet moving. Good effort. Good job, young man. I mean, you're looking at 31-0, and you're still playing football that way. That's a credit to you.
His dad played football at USC. He's dynamic in their run game, and their pass game, and on their returns. As Hayes McMath goes back to work. Very close to the first down, picking up 9. Blake Roberts getting his first carry of the game. Probably one of the longest plays of the night for Presbyterian. They've only had 1 first down. It's Roberts, a redshirt sophomore, makes it 2nd and short. Inside of 2 minutes, see if Presbyterian can put a strong drive together. They haven't even been in NIU territory yet tonight. Math has time. He swings it. That's Roberts. First down for Presbyterian. To the 37, just their 2nd tonight. No huddle offense. They have all their timeouts. Goal here for the Blue Hose. Get this game to halftime with some points on the board. Stumbling catch.
Oh, the ball was underthrown.
Devron Glenn who made that catch. As Presbyterian starts to mix up the personnel, we will have a timeout.
This right now with 1:03 left. I mean, I'm going to take a shot and throw the ball downfield. I really am. You got to come up. You got to do something here, whether it's moving the sticks and go in the locker room just with something on that you have that you can say, hey, we can build on even just a little bit. I mean, you're a coaching staff right now. It's 31-0. There's a minute left, basically in the half, and you're going to go in that locker room. It is not easy, as you could well imagine. And you got to be realistic. You're not going to get in there and start mixing it up, fellas. We do this, and this. We're going to come back out and be right back in this ball game. I mean, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You come out now and just say, look, this is what I want you to do. You're going to play as hard as you possibly can. You're going to play for pride, and you're going to play to improve yourself as a football player. And we're going to go back home, get into our conference games, and see what we've got. But if you want to make this next step, you have to have a commitment by the university, by the athletic department, the alums, or whatever it is, or there's no sense of even trying. And it's my sincere hope, because I'll tell you something, I really like Harold Nichols, his head football coach. I had a chance to talk to him before. I know a little bit about his reputation as a person. He was an outstanding football player in his own right at Presbyterian, and it's hard, it's tough. I mean, what did you say? The school enrollment is 1,200?
1,200, yeah. It's the smallest school in all of Division I, including FCS and FBS. And for Harold Nichols, he admitted these games are about generating revenue when you play schools like Northern Illinois and later in the season when they go up against NC State and Ole Miss. 2nd down. They roll out McMath. He tosses one deep. Nobody there. It's out of bounds anyway. Marlon Moore got the closest to it. It'll be 3rd down and long once again for Presbyterian. Mackey was the intended receiver, but no chance on that throw from McMath. Presbyterian had a decent record going last year. They were 3-4 at one point, but they did end the season dropping 4 in a row. That included a couple of close losses, 21-20 to Furman. And in their last game of the year, beaten by Gardner-Webb, 20-13. They'll be home next week against Bluefield. As Blake Roberts gets the draw on 3rd down. And only about a yard there, so Presbyterian will have to punt. Next week's a pretty historic game for Presbyterian at Bailey Memorial Stadium. They'll play their first home night game since 1990. They've installed lights this year.
As a player, I enjoyed night games. As a coach, I didn't like them one bit. I mean, you get 9 assistant coaches around the table that have come from 9 different places somewhere along the line, and they have 9 different opinions about what you should do during the day before the game. Some guys say, let them stay in their rooms, let them watch other football games. Another coach across the table says, you know what, they're going to get sleepy, they're going to be lethargic. Another guy said, well, let's take them out for a walk and get them off their feet. And the other coach looks over and says, you know what, they're going to be tired.
What did you say?
Stayed out of those. I think just a little bit of, I didn't like it. I didn't like night games as a coach. Not one bit.
Well, what's the right thing to do you think?
I think a little bit of both. I think, you've got to have meetings with, player meetings, specific meetings. But by that time, I'm an advocate of the hay is never in the barn. And if you could get guys, and do walkthroughs, go out in the parking lot, and what they call a chair drill, set down chairs and as in a simulation of what the defense would be, ask your players on this play, what do? I block him, this and that. Walk around a little bit. I'm totally against leaving them in their room for the entire time. You got to meet, you got to walk around a little bit, and then you've got to gauge your pregame meal at, basically the same time you would in hours if it were a regular 1 o'clock or 12:30 or 2 o'clock kickoff, which that's a whole nother deal.
Been a pretty steady rain falling tonight, raining harder in these last few minutes than it has most of the night. Can't even see you, Bob. You're a blur behind all those raindrops. Tommy Lee Lewis up the sideline. Near the 1st down marker. Looks like he's got the 1st down at the 39-yard line. Drew Hare still in there at quarterback. I'm sure we'll see Anthony Maddie at QB for NIU before this one's over. Matt McIntosh got the start. Hare has played most of the second quarter. Although the passing game has slowed down a little, but Hare 6 of 9 for 43 yards entering this drive. Daniels and Puano have been the stars on offense tonight for Northern, both nearing 100 rushing yards. Tommy Lee Lewis on the sweep. And Lewis gets the 1st down this time. They marked him out of bounds on that previous catch back at the 37, but gain of 6 here, and it's 1st and 10.
Good job there by Tommy Lee, knowing exactly what it took to move the sticks.
Quick drop from Hare and a strike to the sideline, too far. And intended for Daniels. Wet football now, and maybe the passing game will start to be affected a little.
As I look down on the field, Wayne, I see these defensive linemen from Presbyterian. I mean, they're still battling. I mean, they're in there, they're battling, they're giving their all.
Hare pitches it to Daniels. Looking for some room on the right sideline and finds it. 1st down, Hakeem Daniels over 100 yards rushing for the night. And Northern Illinois keeping their foot on the gas here at the end of the 1st half. .29 seconds remaining, 2 timeouts for each side. Time for Drew Hare. All kinds of time behind this line. And Drew Hare takes off into the middle of the field with a 17. Big gain for Hare, 25 yards. NIU trying to score one more time. Hare's going to spike it. 19 seconds left in the first half.
Were you waiting for him to slide?
I was.
So was I. So was I. He said, forget about it. I got to get in the end zone. He's done very well. Very, very well.
Empty backfield on 2nd and 10. Four up front for Presbyterian. Hare looks to throw, has time, and goes over the middle. Brown got licked at 10 after that ball hit the turf. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
That right there was a big, big hit by Corey White. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about young guys that are competitive. I mean, very competitive. Here's Corey White. You know, this guy's a senior. And, I mean, he's out there again, 31-0. Deron Brown comes across the field, and, I mean, he put a good hit on him.
Tyler Weedle out for another field goal attempt. Nobody's out there to hold. Maybe it was Weedle not out there. The holder is Orn. Weedle was late getting out there. 4th down and 2. So they'll try another field goal attempt here with 8 seconds left in the half. Play clock running down. They get it off. And Tyler Weedle makes it a 34-0 lead for Northern Illinois. The cannon goes off again. The Huskies send it to halftime with a massive lead over Presbyterian, and everything you wanted to see from NIU with Jordan Lynch gone. I think you saw it tonight in this first half. 282 yards rushing for the Huskies. Referees are blowing whistles, and looks like they were not satisfied with the time running down to 0. I think they're going to put another second or two and have a kickoff.
I think Coach Carey was talking to Tyler Weedle about having himself in the game and knowing that they were going to kick a field goal, and he came out there late. And I like the fact that he went up to that kicker and said that and talked to him about that. I really do. How could you not? You're the kicker. How could you not know?
Now, if anybody should be out there, it should be the kicker and the holder.
And want to be out there. He's still talking to him about it. Come on, Weedle. I mean, you're no longer just a punter. You are also the kicker, young man.
Yeah, Weedle last year was mostly the punter, had a few field goal attempts, but he's assumed both roles full-time this year. You mentioned earlier that it's not necessarily an easy thing to do to be both the punter and the kicker.
No, it's not at all. First of all, you have to not usually, you're the kicker, you're devoting all your time to kicking, unless maybe you're the backup punter. But if you're first team both, you've got to split time in your drills and things.
And half the battle is just showing up when it's your turn. You almost got that part wrong.
Woody Allen said 85% of success is showing up. Did you ever think I'd quote Woody Allen?
No. What else you got? We might need you in the second half to
stay tuned.
Go through your quote book. Tyler Weedle will boot this one into halftime. Nice hop. Ball still loose. Finally, Mackey able to pick it up, and he goes down pretty much in the exact same spot. It's halftime here in DeKalb. Northern Illinois posting 420 total yards of offense. Large majority of that on the ground, as they've built a 34-0 lead over Presbyterian. And Bob, we wondered about life after Jordan Lynch. Both Matt McIntosh and Drew Hare held their own.
They absolutely did, but don't take this for granted. They have a great supporting cast. And I think Jordan Lynch would be the first one to tell you that also. I really hope the Chicago Bears find some place for him. I didn't see the cuts. I don't know if they're bringing if it's time for the final cuts or whatever, but I'd love to see that young man be in the National Football League, albeit even if it's on special teams.
Final cuts are Saturday as the Bears have Jordan Lynch in a preseason game tonight against the Cleveland Browns as we bring in the head coach of the Huskies, Rod Carey. And, Coach, you said you wouldn't be very happy if the offense didn't perform, and then they certainly have performed tonight.
Yeah, it's been good. You know, we expected no matter who was in there that quarterbacks would perform, and they have.
Coach, you have to, I mean, this offensive line, and you and I have talked about this, they are flat out good, okay? I mean, and obviously they're going to get better. I asked you this question once before. Is this offensive line coach as good as the one who he succeeded?
Yeah, I think they're getting there. I mean, we're only a half into the season now. It's too early to tell, but they have the makings to be that, but they got to prove it like that line in 2011 did.
Well, it's certainly impressive, and I'll tell you what else is impressive. Your game management, getting the plays in and everything else, the first game, and with a new quarterback. Come on, great job, Coach.
I appreciate it. We got things to clean up, though. We ain't perfect, I can tell you that.
I knew that would be your response.
Coach, thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, guys.
34-0, Rod Carey's Huskies have the lead here at halftime in DeKalb. A Northern Illinois offensive onslaught as the Huskies built a big lead to start the 2014 season. Back at the Capital One halftime report from Husky Stadium in DeKalb, 34-0, Northern Illinois with the lead. Alongside Bob Camille, I'm Wayne Randazzo, and Bob, very impressive effort from NIU in the first half.
I think it's basically what we anticipated, you know, in all candor. You know, Presbyterian comes out, starts to move to football, and I thought, hey, look, you know, we're going to see some good things here. We give the ball up. The one thing we talked about on the open was playing a team like Northern, you're Presbyterian, you can't have any turnovers. And Northern Illinois just jumped all over them right out the gate. The thing that I'm most impressed with from Northern Illinois, aside from the obvious with the offensive line, is the quarterback, McIntosh, and the way he's played.
So the long touchdown pass from McIntosh, Joel Guanyo with 3 touchdown runs. NIU sheer domination, 24 first downs against 2. You see the third down conversions working great for Northern Illinois tonight. And just start to finish in the first half, just controlling every aspect of this game.
Well, when you look at opening both teams, 1 turnover Presbyterian, no turnovers by Northern Illinois. That's very impressive.
Yeah, and NIU now with a big lead, so how do they approach the second half?
Well, I think one of the things you come out in the second half, you know, coaches are never satisfied. I mean, as Coach Carey goes in, he probably told them they were losing 31-0. You know, they get a little into that coach talk. He's got to keep their head in the game and continue to improve.
There's Rod Carey, the head coach of the Huskies, after that enormous first half from his squad. Now looking at these next 30 minutes to try to continue on for the Huskies. Go out on a very solid note before they have a big game next week, an important test on the road as they go up to Ryan Field to play Northwestern. And NIU had a couple of wins last year against Big Ten schools. They beat Iowa to start the year. They're not afraid of that Big Ten program that Northwestern has as the second half begins with a kickoff return up the sideline, and all the way to the 47-yard line goes Paris Logan. LaVent Sands pushing Logan out of bounds as NIU's opened up a very big lead, a dominating first half. We'll see how the second half goes for them as the offense comes back out on the field.
You know, we've talked about the offense. We've given them great credit with the offensive line, as well as the defense. You know, Boomer Mays and where that bunch flies around. But at the same time, their special teams have done a nice job this evening also.
There was a penalty on that return, so Logan's run will largely be negated. And NIU will have to go backward. The flag will put them back inside their own 15-yard line. We'll see who the quarterback is for Northern in this second half. Well, it's been a mystery all day who will quarterback win. Didn't find out who the starter was until probably about a half hour before the game when Matt McIntosh was announced as the starter in front of the crowd. That announcement on the PA was the first that we heard of any time we heard who the quarterback was going to be tonight for NIU. And it ended up being McIntosh. He did a great job in that first quarter plus that he played. Drew Hare played a lot of the second quarter. And it's Hare out to start the third, as NIU goes right back to a ground attack that racked up 282 yards in the first half, and a carry that time for Draco Smith.
In all candor, and again, getting away from coach talk, Matt McIntosh is going to be the starting quarterback, as I mentioned, when they go to play Northwestern next week. I think he's earned that spot. I think he does a lot of things the way his predecessors did them. I don't think there's any question Drew Hare has shown some more athleticism probably than we anticipated from him. But I like the idea of coming back out with Drew Hare in the second half.
Draco Smith again getting his second carry. The last tackle was made by Ugana Ako. Ako is expected to be a big part of the defensive line for Presbyterian this year at 14 tackles for a loss last year. As Northern Illinois keeps it on the ground, Drew Hare has a first. Another third down conversion. Hare dragging the defender all the way across midfield. And NIU now 12 of 16 on third downs.
I mean, a really nice job by Drew Hare here. I mean, this is a flat-out quarterback draw. I mean, make no mistake about it. When you're sending a guard on a linebacker that quick, and he showed a little fake and then cut back, get back inside. He's a fighter. I mean, he's a fighter. He said, "Hey, coach, look at me."
Play action and a pass complete. Breaking a tackle with open space for Northern Illinois. Juwan Breskeson for the touchdown. Drew Hare gets the touchdown pass, his first. And Breskeson on the slant. After the tackle was broken, nobody to stop him. Another PAT for Weedle. NIU wasting no time to tack on more points at the beginning of this second half.
Another good look right there at that quick slant, one-on-one coverage, man-to-man coverage, good read by Drew Hare. Excellent fake. Never take that for granted, Wayne. You freeze those linebackers up and you get a wide receiver behind them, you're going to get big chunks of yards.
Quickest punch of the night from Northern Illinois. 4 plays, 79 yards, took a minute 24. Now Drew Hare, 8 of 13, 100 yards and a touchdown, a 151 rating for him. McIntosh put up a 147. I think this NIU team is going to be A-okay without Jordan Lynch. They lost a great player, certainly, but it keeps on moving. That's the name of the game in college football. And Rod Carey said, a big part of these transitions, yeah, you're going to lose players. Every program loses players. But when you have staff cohesion, as he put it, that's how you keep a team rolling.
Well, talk about staff cohesion. They've actually lost only one coach from last year, and that was the fullback and tight ends coach. It replaced him with a very good coach in the person of Craig Harmon. And one change on your coaching staff, that's continuity. And the jobs in the MAC at one time years ago were, a lot of ways stepping stone jobs for assistant coaches. I don't see that anymore. I really don't. This is a great conference, and it's a great conference to coach in.
Mackey brings the return up to the 19. We've seen Northern Illinois do a great job covering kicks today. And again, Sat Caterino, who's covered about 4 of them himself with the tackle on Mackey. The engine has not stopped at all for NIU since the halftime break.
No, Santa Catarina, that engine will never stop. I mean, he is, just a real great example to a young guy. Play hard on every play. Play hard on every play. Respect the game, respect your defense, respect your teammates, and just keep coming. That's one thing. Excuse me, Wayne. That's one thing in the recruiting process. As a former recruiting coordinator, I can measure a guy's height, his weight, his 40 time, vertical jump, on and on. The one thing you can't measure is the size of a young guy's heart. How do you measure that? Watch him play. Does he take plays off, or does he play hard on every play? I want that guy that plays hard on every play.
That was LaQuay Mays on the carry, gain of 2. Now 2nd and 8. 6 in the box for Northern Illinois. Play action, quick toss to Antigua. Hit immediately and brought down. Paris Logan with the tackle. Antigua, it's about a yard. It'll be 3rd and 7. Heard a lot about Toby Antigua and Jeremiah Mackey, but NIU's defense has been up to the challenge today. They have established very little. 4 receivers in there now for Presbyterian on 3rd and 7. McMath had time, but he's intercepted. Albert Smalls, the true freshman, picks it off. And another red zone chance coming for NIU.
I mean, he just stepped right in front of that football. It's great recognition. I mean, that's an excellent defensive play. The ball was thrown into double coverage, but at the same time, I mean, McMath, I mean, after a while, you're going to force throws. And, here's the issue. And you say, okay, I don't care how good your receivers are. I don't care how good Toby Antigua is, and he is. I don't care how good Jeremiah McKee is, and he is. They're both outstanding receivers. If you can't establish a running game, it's not going to happen regardless of how good your receivers are. Because there's no play action. I mean, there's no, you lose the element of surprise.
It's Ezra Saffold who got the carry there after the sweep. But Anthony Mattie's the new quarterback. QB number 3 today. Mattie, the redshirt sophomore out of Aurora Christian High School, actually went to Western Michigan, sat out last year after transferring. Keeps it here after the play action. And Mattie turns the corner looking for the end zone. Out of bounds right at the goal line. They'll mark him out at the 1. He did get the first down there, so it'll be 1st and goal.
You evaluate a football player from the ground up, and, you talk about a guy who's got great feet. This guy's got great feet. I mean, he's got quick feet. You saw that little bit of a cut and, lowered the shoulder. Didn't step out of bounds. He wanted to get in that end zone. That's a very nice run by Mattie.
Hand off on 1st and goal. It's Boigno across the goal line. Touchdown. 4th rushing touchdown tonight for Joel Boigno. Boigno with right around 100 yards rushing. His 4th score. Bit of a bobble there on the hold, but Orne got it down, and Weedle with the extra point. As Northern Illinois comes out shooting in the second half. A 34-0 lead wasn't big enough. Now they're up 48. Raindrops keep falling on our heads here in DeKalb. 48-0. Northern Illinois got the lead over Presbyterian. They're really falling on his head.
Somebody get that man a jacket, please.
Jacket's around the camera.
He put his jacket on the camera. That's a team guy right there. That is a team guy right there.
Northern Illinois up 34-0 at halftime. Not even 3.5 minutes into the second half, and they've tacked on 14 more.
This keeps going like this, we may be here for Cornfest.
Might as well stick around. Have a good time this Labor Day weekend. Cornfest jerseys being worn by NIU. Maybe they won't auction them off quite yet. Keep them after a game like this one. A big collision there at the 20-yard line on the return from Glenn. Well, NIU creating another turnover, and it was Albert Smalls, the true freshman, who stepped in front of a Hayes McMath pass. And Joel Boigno with his 4th rushing touchdown of the game. NIU up to 324 yards rushing tonight. Darrell Bridges gets a few yards on that first down pickup.
One of the things, Wayne, you want to do in a game like this, maybe not right now, but you want to get some guys that probably aren't going to get much playing time for the rest of the year, regardless of what the score is. And why do I say that? Because on Monday, when they come out to practice, that motivation is just elevated. Hey, I got a chance to play in the game, and maybe I'm a walk-on, maybe I'm a down-the-line guy, or maybe I'm an older guy who's been relegated to the second or third or fourth team. So I'd like to see the game like this, as you get into the fourth quarter, play as many guys as you possibly can, and get guys a chance to get out on that field. And when those guys go and play on scout teams all next week, they're playing a little harder. They got a little bit more of a kick in their step.
Jordan Hallam's with the catch there to make it a first down for Presbyterian. Fields handled this water pretty well. It's rained pretty much the entire game. Rained very hard since about the second quarter. If we were 60 miles east of here, they'd be playing in slop.
Are you referring to Soldier Field?
Play action, or at least a fake handoff at first to the man in motion before Bridges took the carry and got dropped immediately. NIU's defense, we've seen Michael Santa Catarina jump in there. Boomer Mays has had a good game. Mentioned earlier, the linebacking core really the strength of this defense.
Santa Catarina, he does nothing slow. He does nothing without enthusiasm. He makes the tackle, he hops up, he's ready to get the next call. Bam, boom, here we go.
2nd and 12. A fade over the sideline, incomplete, intended for Antigua. And they're going to throw a flag there. Paris Logan with the coverage on Antigua. Might be a pass interference penalty, although that ball looked a little uncatchable on the high fade from the quarterback, McMath. For an opening night, you mentioned earlier, we really haven't seen the referees play too much of a role tonight. Haven't been many flags. Usually the first game you see some extra penalties that get shorn up over the course of a season. Offsides decline, but pass interference they'll keep. So it will be a first down for Presbyterian after that call against Logan.
We talked about the new system, the playoff system, and really didn't have a whole bunch of time to get into it. In your personal opinion, I know you watch a lot of football and, big college football fan and that. What do you think?
I think it's great. I mean, everybody complained about the BCS system, about how there were sometimes teams left out of the title picture that shouldn't have been. And I think at least now you open the door to a couple more teams and you have less controversy. Darrell Bridges gets across midfield, gain of about 8. It'll be third down and make that second down and short for Presbyterian.
That committee will have their hands full. I mean, they're not going to be able to please everybody.
No.
I mean, they'll have their hands full. And it's going to be a difficult task, especially the first time around.
But at least you can say the system didn't get you. You didn't win enough to get into that Final Four. There's not going to be 5 undefeated teams.
No.
Where there could be 3. Antigua in motion. They give to Bridges on second down, and he was hit immediately. Brought down right at the line of scrimmage.
The one thing we have not seen from Presbyterian this evening per se are any gimmick plays. I don't think we've seen a reverse or, maybe a hitch pass, a double throw, anything like that. Down the line as they go to play NC State, as they go to play Mississippi, I think that's one of the things you have to have in your package to, get yardage downfield, make people think, go through a thought process about what you're going to do.
Huskies blitz on third down, but still able to get right up against the first down marker. Darrell Wilson for Presbyterian. It looks like he has enough. Well, maybe not. Actually, might be about a yard short. He had the marker right there, and he didn't quite make it.
I think that was the coaching point by the young coach on the sideline about knowing where the marker was.
Yeah, he was right there.
Yeah.
Got to make that extra effort.
Yeah.
And Wilson kind of leaned out of bounds there as he got close. So they'll have to punt. Stephen Dorr is out. Raining hard once again. It's been pouring most of the night. Beebe back at the 10 as he lets this one get by him and into the end zone. A touchback. And NIU's offense will have another chance with an enormous lead. It's been all Huskies tonight, under 8 minutes left. Only the third quarter here in DeKalb. NIU with a 48-0 cushion over Presbyterian. 7:56 remaining in this third quarter as the rain continues to fall hard here in DeKalb. As NIU has posted a very big lead throughout this game. They scored the first 17 points in the first quarter. And Northern Illinois up 48-0 as Anthony Maddie returns a quarterback. Second possession for him. We've seen all three NIU quarterbacks tonight. Maddie gets a couple of yards to the 22-yard line.
You know, we've seen all three quarterbacks. Here's the important thing with that. The offense has not changed a bit under all three of them. And that's a real plus. And that's recruiting and that's coaching.
Yeah, they recruit to their style.
Exactly.
There's no accident what happened with Chandler Harnish and Jordan Lynch in those years. And they'll find the next guy. Trying to break out of a tackle. Backup running back for NIU, Keith Harris Jr. Harris got off to a good start last year, but injuries took him out early in the season. Averaged about 7 yards per carry last season for NIU. A lot of depth on this team at the skill positions. Maddie trying to roll away, and he got pressured from both sides. He goes down. As the sack comes in, Cameron Mack and Kari Rozier. So Harold Nichols happy with that effort from his defense, and they force a punt from Northern Illinois. Finally a stop for the Blue Hose.
Starting to see some substitutions up front with the Northern Illinois offensive line.
Especially on this wet night, you don't want to see a key player get injured.
Josh Ruka came in there at the right guard, substituting for Tyler Pitt. Josh, 6'5", 311-pound sophomore.
Weedle, the punter. As this ball bounces near midfield, it will come to a stop at the 44-yard line. And Presbyterian will pick it up there midway through this third quarter. Trying to get on the board and avoid one of the worst losses that has ever happened here in DeKalb. 114-7, Northern Illinois, then known as Northern Illinois State Teachers College. They beat Wheaton College in a blowout.
And no, Wayne, I was not at that game. Now, who comes back the next year? Beloit, 115. I put him on Northern. Now, if Beloit played Wheaton, who would win? That would be interesting in those days.
A couple of Division III schools now, Beloit and Wheaton.
You know, the great thing about those, I mean, the divisions were different at that time, but, you know, you're a young person. You want to play football. I don't care how big or how fast you are. There's a place for you, and you got to be realistic. Where can I play? Play at Beloit. Play at Wheaton. Play at your alma mater, North Central. It's football. It's the experience. It's an opportunity to gain so many valuable lessons to take out in life and be a teammate. And, you know, regardless of the size of the field or how many people are on the stands or the conference or whatever.
Toby Antigua pops the ball out, and it's recovered by NIU at midfield. Looked like it was punched out from behind as Antigua fumbled, and the recovery from Sean Folliard. There's a helmet hit from Northern there. Looked like Dion Hamilton, rather Dion Hallman, who got in there and knocked the ball loose. And there to jump on top of it was Folliard.
Well, it was excellent tackle. I mentioned before, one of the other Northern Illinois defenders that lowered his shoulder, made a shoulder tackle, and slid his head to the side of the football, causing that fumble.
They pitch it on first down, and that play read beautifully. Good job by the defense from Presbyterian. Deron Dickey popping up.
Again, we've got a new center in there. Mike Gegner, young guy, 6'3", 287, a senior, getting some opportunity to play. I mentioned Josh Rutka at the left guard. Getting some good time. These guys will get good time in as they come into play. Might end up playing, you know, a whole quarter and a half of football.
Maddie rolling away from the pressure, has an opening at the 30-yard line. Saffold makes the catch and a first down. Job by Maddie buying time, running away from the pressure.
Not only that, I mean, just good point. But I mean, seeing that, you know, here, this is the one deal. When your quarterback starts to scramble, you have to come to that quarterback. You mirror him. You mirror him when he starts to scramble, but it's good vision by Maddie to, you know, to see him and pull up and throw the football, and throw the football really, really well on a line.
Actually had the ball tucked there before he pulled it back up to throw, and you're right, in this rain especially, a strong 20-yard throw on the run.
All right, let's go.
On the handoff, cutting it back and crossing the first down marker. Draco Smith once again involved. The Huskies back in the red zone, first down at the 17. Give it back to Draco Smith, trying to turn the corner on the far sideline. And pushed out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Well, you mentioned the skill positions, where they do have an abundance of skill here. Uh-oh.
Right in the neighborhood of a late hit. And no call against Kevin Crawford.
There you go again. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Room for Draco Smith and a touchdown. A seam up the middle, and Smith gets to the end zone for Northern. Ten different Huskies have carried the ball, and it was Draco Smith who crossed the goal line there. Fifth rushing touchdown for NIU tonight. We'll be halfway to that 110 after this extra point from Weedle. And a 55-0 lead for NIU. Still a whole quarter left after this one, about 19 minutes to go, and plenty of time for Northern Illinois to keep racking up the points. They've scored 21 here in the third. Inside of 4 minutes remain in this third quarter. NIU with a 55-0 lead over Presbyterian. The rain has chased away some of the fans, but dance team, the cheerleaders, even those unofficially on the dance team, hanging out on a wet night here in DeKalb. It's rained the whole game. It's rained very hard at times. And Northern Illinois, in the process of that, posting 554 total yards in this game. 343 on the ground, 5 rushing touchdowns. As Jeremiah Mackey looks for space and takes it to the 35-yard line. Presbyterian will bring their offense back out as the tackle was made there by Arcaros Turner. Caleb Griffin's the new quarterback for Presbyterian. Redshirt junior who came on in relief a lot in 2012. Last year made 4 starts and was interchangeable with Hayes McMath. Griffin last year actually completed 71% of his passes. On the sweep to the man in motion as Hines gets about 7. It'll be second and short. Presbyterian starting to use a bunch of different players as well in this blowout game. Presbyterian is home next week against Bluefield. NIU goes to Northwestern next week. Huskies trying to reset their offense after Jordan Lynch leaves. As Rod Carey told us, they don't want to go backward. This is not a time to go back. They went to the Orange Bowl in 2012. They lost in the MAC championship game last year, which kept them out of the Fiesta Bowl, or else they would have been right back into a BCS game.
That would have been an interesting situation. I don't think there's any question. That would have been a very interesting situation. The one thing right now after this game, the coaches are going to take this film. They might even look at it this evening. They may probably look at it more than likely tomorrow. You give them a day off. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. You start to, the one thing I don't think Coach Carey's going to do is spend a lot of time on this film, the game film. I mean, they'll go over some things, but it's going to be more in the case of preparation. The assistant coaches will have to evaluate players at their particular position, but to say that they're going to go over every single play with every player, I just don't think that's going to happen.
What about Northwestern? How do they evaluate this game?
Well, they're going to, the Northwestern coaches, they're going to make Presbyterian look like the Green Bay Packers. I mean, hey, regardless of who they play, this is a good football team we're coming to play. Forget about the competition. And the fact is they are, regardless of the competition.
Blake Roberts crosses midfield. It'll be third down and about 7 for Presbyterian as Caleb Griffin leads the offense for the first time. McMath 8 of 14, but just 27 yards passing. He was intercepted once. McMath never really got into a rhythm tonight.
No. I mean, as we mentioned, they caused the fumble, Northern caused the fumble, and that was basically, that was it. I'm not saying that had that ball not been fumbled that we'd be calling a close game, but I think it became indicative of what was going to occur.
Pump fake, and Griffin finds Terrell Wilson. Out of bounds at the 22-yard line. First down for Presbyterian on their best play of the night.
It is their best play of the night. And probably the best throw of the night by Presbyterian also. I mean, a little bit of a play-action fake, just nice job of putting a little air, just enough air under the football to throw it over to the defender's head into the boundary.
27 yards on the pickup from Griffin to Wilson. Blue Hose threatening to score for the first time. Feed to Blake Roberts behind left tackle. And no gain for Roberts, eaten up by Jamal Payton.
This may be the time why I throw in that gimmick play. Why not? I mean, really. I don't know if they call them gimmick plays anymore.
Call whatever you want.
I'll call it a gimmick play. I think maybe it's time to call it a little gimmick play here. See if you can't get in the end zone.
Second down and 10. First possession for Caleb Griffin. Didn't work out with Hayes McMath under center. They roll out. Griffin throws on the run. Too low for Wilson this time. It'll be third and 10. Presbyterian with their schedule as they look ahead. Just trying to get a few more wins. 3 wins last year. They had a couple of wins in a row, beating VMI at Point. They were 3-4 at that point. They lost 4 straight to end the season. Has not been a successful time in the Big South for them. Only 5-27 in conference play since joining the conference 6 years ago. Play action on third down. Griffin steps up to run, breaks a tackle, and finally wrapped up and brought down at the 15. Chased down by Ruben Dunbar. Now fourth and about a yard and a half. Might as well go for it. Blue Hose in the red zone for the first time. They won't go for it. Gonna bring out Brett Wilson for a field goal attempt. Presbyterian able to get on the board as Wilson connects on the field goal. So Presbyterian with 6 seconds remaining in this third quarter didn't want to get shut out tonight.
You bring your team into the locker room if you're Presbyterian after this game. But the one thing the player, try as you may, in the back of their mind, they're saying, you know what, we can compete with a football team like this. I mean, it just, and really, it might be an unrealistic thought, but the fact of the matter is you're never going to take a competitive football player and have him think that, somebody was that much better than him. And then, you have to, now all of a sudden you're back home. You get to look at the film, you look at things, you start to prepare for your next opponent. The hardest part of coaching in a situation like this is the coaching that goes on above the shoulders. I mean, there really is not a whole lot to be said. But at the same time, this is the first game of the season. And, you've got to move on. This is where you have to have older guys in the locker room that possess character.
And for Presbyterian, they do feel like they have some of those players available to them. And they expect some of their senior leaders, guys like Isaiah Lynn and Donnell Williams, to step up and play that role. There's no way that phone's going to work tomorrow. Yours might in this weather. You can take your phone out there and you could throw it right in a puddle, pick it up and use it. I mean, your phone's from 1985, I think.
Well, I mean, wait a second now. Right after this play, I'm going to talk about my phone. Now, last year, the last game of the Dallas Cowboys, they showed Jerry Jones in the press box making a phone call. He had a flip phone as I do.
Well, you and Jerry, maybe you guys can only call each other. It's been all Northern Illinois tonight. Huskies lead 55-3 after 3 in the count.
Now, as you look in the end zone, you see that dog right there. That is Mission. And Mission is the new Husky mascot. And Mission has big paws to fill because Diesel is retired. And this is Mission's first home game. And if this is anything indicative of the way his career is going to go here, the Huskies are going to have some great football games in the future.
Now, mission accomplished tonight.
Not bad. How about big paws to fill?
I like that one, yeah.
Mission got the airtime. Mission's leaving.
Keith Harris Jr. on the handoff there, a gain of 6. As NIU begins this fourth quarter with a 52-point lead. Anthony Maddie in at quarterback. On the fake handoff, Maddie keeps it himself, gets a first down into Presbyterian territory. And threw a stiff arm there as he goes out of bounds at the 47-yard line. We saw Matt McIntosh at the start. He had a good night, 10 of 14, 87 yards and a touchdown. Drew Hare was strong, 8 of 13, 100 yards and a touchdown. Didn't see too much running from either of them. Hare, 5 carries, 51 yards, and McIntosh 4 for 27. It's been the running backs who've done the bulk of the work tonight, and better than 350 yards on the ground for NIU tonight, 5 touchdowns. Closing in on 600 yards of offense.
All of NIU's quarterbacks have had fine mechanics. I mean, they really have, faking their footwork, bringing the ball up and throwing the way they throw the football. But the mechanics of the faking and in that mesh on the option play, excellent job of coaching.
Maddie throws low on the run, intended for Turner. I think there was a lot of uncertainty from maybe the media or the fans when it came to NIU's quarterbacks, and Rod Carey didn't help that by having 3 battle for a job and not announcing who the starter was going to be tonight until just before the game. But I think that for NIU, they weren't concerned in the least bit about A, who it was going to be, and B, that it would really matter who it was out of those 3. Maddie steps up out of the run and gets to the 41-yard line.
I think they've all done very well, all 3 of them. I really do. I mean, now you're looking at Maddie and the level of competition he's playing against. I mean, some of these guys right now, a lot of guys that are substitutes, but even with that being said, I think all 3 quarterbacks have played well.
Rain is starting to lighten up a little bit after it's really poured here most of the night. Just in time for NIU to punt. Tyler Weedle will boot this one with Antigua back at his own 10. More opportunities for the Presbyterian offense as Antigua will let this one sail and it goes out of bounds. So Presbyterian will bring their second string quarterback out onto the field again, Caleb Griffin, although Second string today, might not be the case every week for Griffin. Just like NIU, Presbyterian, a quarterback battle between McMath and Griffin. McMath won it, but things can certainly change as the season goes on. Hakeem Daniels in his return for NIU had a huge night. Leading rusher for Northern Illinois, although Joel Buonio didn't share the touchdowns with Daniels. Buonio got 4. Daniels, despite having more yards, didn't get any.
I think early on when you mentioned, and I mentioned it after you did also, that, you know, the depth at skill positions for the Huskies, it's very impressive.
And we really haven't seen a lot of their receivers step up tonight. Beebe had a couple of catches, but Argyros Turner's been quiet. Breskeson got a touchdown. We haven't seen a whole lot from Tommy Lee Lewis, but people that will be key members of their squad, especially in conference play, they haven't done anything tonight.
Well, you mentioned recruiting here at Northern. Northern Illinois right now has, and I don't know how many will remain with NFL teams, but they actually have 10 rostered NFL players. And a Mid-American school, I mean, that really is a tribute to the way they've put this program together.
3 of them from last year's team in NFL camps this year. We mentioned Lynch with the Bears, Jimmy Ward now with San Francisco, and Ken Bishop on the Dallas roster. Griffin steps up, gets hit, and he goes down in the backfield, brought down at about the 7.
Wait, am I correct in saying Ward was a first-round pick, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the top defensive backs in the entire draft. He went late in the first round to San Francisco. Ward had a great year last year, 7 interceptions. Although he's probably the guy with the biggest NFL future, it'll be interesting to see if Jordan Lynch does hang around with the Bears. I expect that he'll be on the practice squad at least. So he was supposed to get a bulk of the carries tonight in the preseason game against the Browns. That game going on right now.
Let me say one thing about him with the Bears, okay? Obviously, they've moved him to running back. But the way offenses in the NFL are now with spread offenses, you're seeing more of the, running quarterbacks. He would be a real asset to your scout team, so to speak, where he could, emulate the quarterback that they're playing against. And I think there's something to be said for that.
They did draft David Fales this year as well. He's actually quarterbacking tonight for the Bears. So we'll see if Jordan Lynch gets a chance at that position. Looks like running back for now, but talk to Rod Carey and you hear him say that he's surprised Jordan Lynch isn't one of the best 64 quarterbacks in the NFL. He can't wrap his mind around the fact that he's not getting an opportunity at that position after the damage he did the last couple of years.
I'm with Coach Carey. I really am. I'm with him. I'm totally with him on that. I mean, like you mentioned, 64 quarterbacks. I think Lynch is good or better than many of those 64. I can't say all of them, obviously. I mean, because of the great quarterbacks you have in the league. But, I really believe he could be a backup quarterback in the National Football League.
College football opening up tonight, not only here, but only about 10 games throughout the country, including the first ever football broadcast on the SEC network. As number 21 Texas A&M matches up with 9th-ranked South Carolina tonight. Temple playing Vanderbilt. Good matchup down in Oxford as Boise State and 18th-ranked Ole Miss play. So college football off to a roaring start on this Thursday night. And a whole slew of games for week 1 this Saturday as well. The NIU Silverettes on the wet turf. That's professionalism. This is no dancing weather in those outfits.
Dedication.
That's right.
Dedication and a lot of hard work, and a lot of times overlooked.
A bad snap. Maddie goes to fall on it and does. Back at the 50-yard line, so NIU will have 2nd and long. Have been some changes on the offensive line. Backup center is Mike Gegner. Although even the backups have a lot of experience. Gegner and Wes Ott are both redshirt seniors. Well, Northern Illinois, as they look ahead, got the game at Northwestern next week. Then they go out to UNLV and then Arkansas. So 3 straight road games coming up for the Huskies. 2 that you look at as being fairly winnable against Northwestern and UNLV. But that Arkansas game, that'll be a pretty big challenge.
I think Northwestern this year, this is going to be an interesting season for Northwestern. I mean, the expectations last season certainly were not met.
And he takes off, and he's got a lot of space inside the 25 before he cuts it back and finally wrestled down at the 18. Big breakdown defensively there from Presbyterian as Anthony Matty gets the first down.
I mean, he shows good speed here, good explosion, and good strength. And a good decision to take off with the football. Those offensive linemen, again, they just hung in there with their blocks.
27 yards on the run. Now hand off to Keith Harris Jr. as he goes off tackle for a couple. It'll be second down and still 9+ minutes remaining in this game. NIU's scored from start to finish today. 21 points in the third quarter. Looking for their first strike in this fourth. That's Jordan Huff across the 15. 11 different Huskies have carried the football tonight. And Hakeem Daniels, who was their second leading rusher in 2012, missed last year with a foot injury, has been the top guy tonight. Bad pass and miscommunication there. Really, NIU's top runner is not playing. Cameron Stingley is out. So they'll get him back at some point, add him to the mix with Daniels and Buonio and these others.
Stingley's an outstanding back. I had a chance to do a couple games last year, and he was very impressive.
Stingley and Jordan Lynch last year became the first NIU duo to ever rush for 1,000 yards each. As Tyler Weedle is out for another field goal attempt, looking for his third tonight. This one from 31 yards. And that one is wide to the left. Weedle misses. And Presbyterian will get the ball back on their own 20-yard line. 8:26 to go. Northern Illinois enjoying a 55-3 lead. 8:26 remaining. Northern Illinois with a 55-3 lead over Presbyterian. Opening night of the college football season. Huskies will be at Northwestern next week. So they have a pretty tough non-conference slate after this one. All road games at Northwestern, UNLV, and Arkansas. They've had it easy tonight. Jumped out to a big lead early. 17-0 after 1, 34-0 after 2. 55-0 before Presbyterian got on the board with a field goal.
Nice play there by a backup outside linebacker, Sean Folliard. Stepped up, came inside, number 40, made a great play.
Folliard had a fumble recovery earlier in the game. Now he was forced a few turnovers, a couple of fumble recoveries, and an interception from the true freshman Albert Smalls. Split backs. Now they'll jump out of that as man goes in motion. Craig Bryan to the wing. More movement on a sweep. And great play defensively as the Huskies jump that play. Excellent job by Terrell Harris.
A little bit of misdirection, pulled the guards in the opposite direction. Good read, good reaction, good tackle.
Unblocked there. A couple of guys were standing there but didn't block Harris.
You know, one of the things you see when these guys get in a game like this, you can try as you may in practice to come up to game speed or game conditions, even under these conditions. When you get in a situation like this, you're a backup, obviously. You know, we're talking 55-3, 7 minutes left of the game, but still, it's game speed, it's a game situation. and those reps that you get in this situation, I mean, they're very important.
Draw play on 3rd and long. Gets a couple of yards for Darrell Bridges. So NIU will get the ball back after a Presbyterian punt. Blue Hose MVP today might be Stephen Dorr. He's been very active.
Wayne, did we have one review this evening or two? I think
we had the one on that
fumble.
On that fumble that ended up working out in NIU's favor.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
That was about it. That's amazing. You know, you mentioned penalty-free game, and beside that, the officiating, I mean, very, very good.
A bouncing punt that will stop rolling at the 44-yard line, finally picked up by Presbyterian. So NIU will start their offense up with 6 minutes to go as they lead 55-3. Time now to take a look at our Capital One Cup impact performances of the week, as Joel Boigneau and Akeem Daniels have been terrific tonight. Daniels better than 100 yards rushing, as he's had some big openings. So has Boigneau, one of his 4 touchdown runs there. Daniels 15 carries, 118 yards. Boigneau 16 and 97 with his 4 scores, as Northern Illinois has ripped open this game from the get-go. Capital One Cup impact performances of the week, the dual runners for NIU tonight. Another opportunity for an NIU running back, and going out of bounds after dancing along the wide sideline. Good run there by Saffold for the first down.
Boy, both of those young guys are, I mean, they are very, very gifted runners. And then you come back with Stingley, he comes back down the line here, and you combine that with the offensive line. But, you know, again, this is a total team effort. This NIU defense played very well today, very well.
Actually marked him out of bounds to the 49, so it'll be 2nd and short. And Keith Harris Jr. makes a beeline for the marker, and he gets to it. Tackled out of bounds at the 46-yard line, so it'll be 1st down and 10 for Northern Illinois. Clock running inside of 5.5 minutes left, and what's been a dominating effort from the Huskies tonight. Northern returning 16 starters, 9 of them on offense. Again, we mentioned Jordan Lynch and the Heisman Trophy finalist graduating, moving on. But he's only one of 2 starters that isn't back. A low throw there by Anthony Maddie. And this is not like the pro game where it all surrounds around the quarterback. You have an offensive line here. You have skill positions at running back and wide receiver where you've already got things built. Now you just need to find a guy to run the offense, and maybe it's McIntosh, maybe it's Hare, or maybe it's Maddie, but they've all done the job and done it well tonight. On the fake, Maddie got eaten up.
You know, I'd like to revisit. I didn't realize that Coach Carey had made that comment to you about Lynch and being 64 quarterbacks in the National Football League. And I have to say this. I have to say this again. I'm totally with him. I refuse to believe that he can't be a backup quarterback in the National Football League. Now, it would have to be scheme specific. You know, he'd have to go to a team. I mean, what more could you want from the guy?
Yeah.
I mean, what more, as an evaluator in the National Football League, what more could you want from a football player?
Maddie has room as he takes it outside and goes out of bounds at the 34, 1st down.
I think at times, and you know, and I have some friends that are pro scouts, and they do a great job. But I think at times they it gets over analytical.
Well, you saw Lynch run a very similar style to what Tim Tebow did, that quarterback power play. Rod Carey had mentioned that there's probably only 2 quarterbacks in the history of college football that have been able to run that play the way that Tim Tebow and Jordan Lynch did. And neither one able to secure a job really for very long as an NFL quarterback in Tebow's case. And for Lynch, never really even getting a chance.
You know, and I heard Lynch's height, you know, possibly was a factor. I've stood next to Drew Brees, and I've stood next to Lynch, and there is no difference in their height.
Time running down in this 4th quarter. NIU scoring 17 in each of the first 2 quarters, 21 in the 3rd. They have not gotten on the board here in the 4th, but a 1st down there from Keith Harris Jr. Let's take a look at some of the damage Jordan Lynch did over the last 2 years. more than 3,700 rushing yards in his last 2 seasons. He had 1,800 plus in 2012, 1,900 plus last year. He wasn't just a runner. He also was able to spread the ball out, pass the football effectively, and leapt his way into the Heisman Trophy candidacy last year. He ended up 3rd for the Heisman, got an invite to New York, and really started to gain some steam there. Jameis Winston was the obvious Heisman Trophy winner, but after Winston, it wasn't so obvious who was going to be 2nd or 3rd, and Lynch ended up 3rd.
Well, and I take exception to people suggesting that he shouldn't have been there. I mean, that the level of competition and all that. I don't buy that either. He was in his rightful place when he was at the Heisman evening. And I, for the life of me, I can't understand why someone would be critical of him being there.
Ezra Saffold moving the chains again. It'll be 1st down and goal for NIU.
You know, and there's another factor here. It's called leadership and character. And he possessed both.
Anthony Mattie's done a nice job. He's played all this 4th quarter and some of the 3rd. Haven't needed him to pass much, but he's been the leading rusher among the quarterbacks tonight with 51 yards. Keith Harris Jr. spins away, but only spun into another set of defenders as he's wrestled down to the backfield, 2nd and goal.
Well, as the clock ticks, I can't help but, my heart goes out to Coach Nichols and the Presbyterian team. Made the long trip up here to DeKalb. Going back tonight, it's going to be a long flight home to regroup. I just hope that the young guys in his locker room, his senior players, continue to buy into what his coaches do and come back and play some great games within the conference. I think, when you look at Northern Illinois, the future here for this football team is, I think they can play with basically anybody.
Maddie can't shake the tackle, extends the ball to the 15. It'll be 3rd and goal from there. Time winding down in this game. NIU's been in the red zone 10 times tonight. They've scored on 7 of their trips to the red zone. Trying to make it an 8th before they wrap things up. And a very successful week 1 performance. Nobody expected this to be a close game by any means, but I think NIU even exceeded what was expected. They've sat on the football here in this 4th quarter. This score probably would be even higher than this. Play clock running down. And Northern Illinois will take a timeout here with 42 seconds remaining. Now 40 ticks left on the clock as NIU has the big lead. It'll be 3rd and goal when we come back. The Huskies up 55-3 on their way to 1-0. Victory for Northern Illinois tonight, 55-3 as they knock off Presbyterian. It was all Huskies tonight as they ripped through the first half, up 34-0. NIU with 635 yards of offense in this game, rushing for 424 yards. And Rod Carey's team here tonight, Bob, looked very good.
I think they absolutely, I don't think there's any question. And again, one of the things that I was most impressed with was the game management, getting to plays in a timely fashion. This is the opening game. That's not always the case. And, you know, try as you may to simulate game conditions, you know, you really can't do it until you actually get in the game. Hats off to that coaching staff for preparing his football team the way they did.
So now Northern Illinois goes on the road for more than a month. They won't have a home game here in DeKalb again until October 4th, and they play Kent State. 3 tough road opponents coming up for the Huskies. For Bob Camille, I'm Wayne Randazzo saying so long from Husky Stadium in DeKalb. Final score, Northern Illinois 55, Presbyterian 3. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.